live 4 minutes early. Let's see if we have yep, we got some volume. No peoples yet. We got one person, one like. The mystery person. Lacey Harrington, hello. Ohio Hurricane, hello. 2 people. Holy crap. One person, 6 likes. Caden, rockin' steady. What's up, Moose Knuckle Johnson? Susan, how are you? Julie Bug. Suji, Susan Hollis, how are you? Troy, Dean, I figured we'd start a little early. I see Caden is number 4 on the list, my favorite person on a freaking watch list. I don't know if you guys have seen Caden's shorts lately, but holy crap. I go to bed last night and I'm watching my phone, just watching shorts. All of a sudden, there's Caden, camouflage balaclava, AR-15, 14-inch fixed blade. I'm like, dude, the FBI is definitely watching you. I'm just kidding. What's up, Spirit Level? How are you? Bob Wiley, Dean, Troy, Lake Superior, Kathy, Alligator. How are you? Mr. G, Colleen, Teresa, how are you? No Cap. Kenneth is in the house with us. RH, Dis, and Gravity Mother Cheeseburger. Oh, Caden's shorts are friggin' great. Every time I go to watch shorts, there's Caden. One short at least. Hey Joe, how are you? Jennifer, how you feeling, Joe? Dave, what's up? Hey Sean, how are you? Kathy? New York 593, how are you? Thank you for joining us. There's another Sean in the house. I'm all right, RH. I'm all right. Mr. Fuji. Oh, Mr. Fuji brought Don Morocco with him. What's up, Nicola? Reefer. What's going on? Hey, Tommy, how are you? Cookie, Keebler Cookie, Elf. Still 1 minute early. Max Life, how are you? I didn't receive a package yet, Rockin' Study. Wait. The Stogies? Radio Shack, how are you? Yes, I got them yesterday. Sorry. John, how are you? Adam, Animes. I haven't had a chance to toke on one yet. Very nice. You surprised me with 2 4-packs. I was pleasantly surprised. Hey, Pearl Green, how are you? Eve's in the house. Yeah, Cubans are good. Hey, Matt, how are you? I myself, if I'm gonna like spend a chunk of money, not a chunk, but any kind of substantial, $10 is a chunk for me for a cigar. I like the Maker's Mark Stogie. They're very good. No snow yet. Nagati, how are you? Tony Baxter, Adam Condon, Michael Middleton, Christopher. Thank you, Pearl Green. Yeah, it's raining here too, Eve. Hey, Gigi, how are you? Hey, Sharon. Face this 27, how are you? Hazardous. There goes Caden flirting with RH again. Just kidding, Caden. What's up, Kendra? How are you? Minority Report. Yeah, I got a haircut. He cut it a little short, though. I didn't want it this short. Nagatti's from Goatman. Mr. Fuji, high five. Dude, Mr. Fuji was by far the greatest WWF referee, or not referee, manager ever. Like, better than Bobby the Brain, better than Classy Freddie Blassie. Yeah, it's definitely too short. I was pissed when he got done because usually he does a good job. I think he was just, I don't think he felt good that day. But he's like, he got done and I like turned around in the mirror and I was like, oh, dude, what'd you do? I know. That's exactly what hats are for, my friend. Classy did, yes. But Captain Lou made it in a Cyndi Lauper song, so. Gordon Sully, yeah. Thanks, New York 593. One time I got, yeah, I agree. BP. I had a bad haircut and they just messed it up. Like I had it going on. It was real good. It was long. And then I came home. I just needed a trim. I needed the dead ends cut. And I came back and I looked at it and I looked like it looked like fucking Fred the Barber from Andy Griffin's show cut my hair. I was like, what the hell happened? So I just took the old clippers and went burnt. That was last year around this time. What's up, Kevin Stover? How are you? So you guys want to see my this is my Caden Zero short impersonation. This is Caden's impersonations, guys. What's up, Giant Slayer? Hey guys. Caden. Microtech. Pretty good knife. Bye. Don't put me on a list. Swear to God. Kids on a list. You know I love you, Caden. I'm just busting your ass. Boston is one of my favorite towns on the East Coast. Love Boston. Gotta love Boston. Especially when Rajon Rondo was playing for him. Oh, shit. So really quick, before we go any further, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. My dad is not getting better. I am exhausted. My mom is like fixed to her phone in her house, waiting for doctors and shit to call every day. I've just been running errands for her, and he's got a feeding tube and a breathing tube. It's really shit. So if anyone ever is hiking in the Adirondacks and you get hurt, do not go to Glen Falls Hospital. Do not go to Glen Falls, New York Hospital. Go to Saratoga, New York, or go to Albany Med, because they will kill you. My dad had no issues. 3 to 4 day recovery. We are 19 days in. It's the 10th. So thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Thanks, Neil. Where's Truth Quest? What's up, Truth Quest? How are you? So any of you guys been watching the Monarch legacy of a whatever, the new Monarch? Jeff, been listening to your channel a couple months now. I have a question for you. Could you send a link to your encounter? I can't find it. I will tell you, Ethan, I'll share my encounter sometime during this live stream for you. Okay, my friend? Thanks, Kendra. What's up, Daniel? How are you? Robert Sharp, how are you? Thank you, Gigi. I'm doing all right. I'm tired. I'm just really tired. Yeah, the new episode. Ken, so you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. OG, thank you. Adam Hernandez. So, dude, the new Monarch show, it's on Apple. If you guys get a chance to watch it, it's freaking awesome. It's like what? Okay, so Godzilla 2014, when he fought the Mutos, it happened right after that. It takes place right after that. And San Francisco is still a shit show, but it shows you how Monarch started, right? So the three originators of Monarch, one was in the army, another was a doctor, a Japanese doctor. And then the other, when he comes out, he's like, hey, how are you? He's like, I'm a cryptozoologist. And I lost my shit. I was like, yes. I'm like, finally, we get some recognition in mainstream. And he's talking about, Jerry, I'm sorry, my friend. I hope you're feeling better. I really hope you're feeling better. And they look at these old charts and it's Bigfoot and stuff. I don't do shrooms, Nubian. I'm sober 100%. What's up with Vic? I don't know. I have not spoken to him. I have no anything. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate that. I honestly can't. I couldn't not do a show. It's like the one thing that makes me somewhat sane. Gigi, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I didn't even have time to work on the goddamn show or goddamn tank tops that I wanted to do. The book is not out. The book, the book got stopped. If you type in Amazon, if you go to Amazon and you type in Victor Johnson, literally it'll say Victor Johnson, and then like pop-ups will pop up. Dogman Encounter book, Victor Johnson, Dogman, Victor Johnson Cryptid. I'm working on the rest of it. I'm finishing it for him. I can't wait to see Godzilla -1. They make a reference to Godzilla -1 in the show or in the TV show too. BP, congratulations. Congratulations, my friend. I'm coming up on 8 years. In April 24th, I'll have 8 years. It's a long, hard battle, but it's I don't even think about it anymore. Tank tops are perfect for sealing catalytic converters. Larry Lindman, you know it. I'm only going to do 2. I'm going to do one in pink and one in white because I think that's perfect for $20 is $20. And like only real men wear pink anyway. So you know what? Who cares? What's up, Demon? How are you? J Tad, how are you? I do have a couple of really great encounters from Scotland. Actually, a lady that I was interviewing has a farm where that woman 2 years ago was attacked by the fuck, what did they say it was? Badgers or whatever. Her house is like right in that vicinity. Maybe I'll do a black one. Maybe. I don't know. I think white and pink are the 2 primary colors because it fits. You know what I mean? What's up, Captain Ron? How are you? Ken, I did it by myself too, brother, but it is hard. You know, you just gotta stay real with it, you know. You gotta just make sure that you don't. I didn't go to AA or NA for a reason. And I'm not saying anything negative about those groups because they work for some people, but for me, I couldn't, you know. Um, I didn't want to hear people crying about their old bullshit. You know, they got 20 years sober and they're like, I got 20 years sober, but I still can't get over the time that Uncle John diddled my ditty. And, you know, so I just, the way I look at it is we have one life, make the best of it. And if you do fall off the horse, get back on. You know, that's the best thing you can do. You know what I mean? But that's the way I look at things. Jeff, how realistic do you think reptilian humanoids are? I find it hard to prove, but understand in topic. Interesting. Reptilian humanoids are definitely 100% real. I would honestly, if you find it hard to believe, I would look into, or hard to prove, look into Dulce, New Mexico. I have about 25 videos on them, and look at Nightmare Hall. It's when you take out mainstream, what your brain has been fed by mainstream media and the norm, take that shit out and realize that we have different dimensions. There are scientists have proven there's different dimensions. That outer space might not be outer space. It may be alternate space, you know. Hey Denise, how are you? No, I didn't have a chance this week. I had my own Dogman encounter. So I've been doing research for 30 years. I had it when I was 17. I'm 47 now. So what's up, David? How are you? One of my lizards died, actually. I don't have any lizards left this week. So now I just have the 3 pythons. Not Mr. Fuji said bearded dragon, so damn it, that cough is terrible. Naroshi, how are you? Richie. There's a few. Wait. Through watching your channel, it's getting me scared. You're the only channel where everyone seems like they're just recounting a story, but there's a few of the talking about seeing big groups of Dogman. Plus, I've been doing this. I have 50,000 subs, but if you look at my view count, I have more views than most bigger channels than me. Like my view count is up there with Vic Cundiff's channel and How to Hunt. For some reason I can't. The sub thing doesn't match out. I've over 3,000 videos, and I have probably 200 experiences with seeing more than 1 or 2 encounters, or more than 1 or 2 dogmen at one time. Neck, what's going on? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Actually, when I saw the damn thing dead, I got like a really bad feeling, and I was like, man, I hope this is not like I hope it's not like a fucking bad omen or whatever. Hey Pops, how are you? Yeah, YouTube is definitely rigged. Hey buddy. Definitely rigged. No, I haven't seen it, Truth Quest. Where was that, Richie? I'm doing good, Derek Crowley. How are you? Hey, Sanhoff, how are you? So I got a couple. I'm gonna do a couple encounters, and we'll talk a little bit more. All right. Let me see if I can. We'll start the night with. Let's start the night with a black-eyed kid. We gotta find. We love black-eyed kid ones. All right, here we go. Black-eyed kids. I had met with a couple of my girlfriends for a quick late dinner at a restaurant facing Main Street in downtown. I had parked about 3 blocks further away down Main Street, as this was the only parking place available at that time of the day. We had chatted a while after dinner and then parted ways. I was alone on the walk back to my car, but there was the usual amount of people around. It was almost twilight, but still very light, and it was humid and hot. As I walked along, I began to get an uneasy feeling of someone staring at me. I glanced back over my shoulder and noticed this 14 or 15-year-old kid in dirty clothes and an equally soiled hoodie. He was a very pale looking boy, and he was following very close behind me. I began to experience a strange and nagging fear. All my life, I have been something of a tomboy and felt that I could handle myself in many situations. But what I felt that day went right to my core. As I walked along, I had to wonder why someone, even a kid, would be wearing a hoodie on a 99 plus degree day. I looked at him again, and our eyes locked. The shock was like a bucket of cold water being thrown on me. His eyes were completely eerie, empty, and black. No whites at all. At this point, I was almost in a panic. I hate to say it, but I was ready to run. Just then, I got even with another restaurant and ducked in quickly, nervously standing by the window and waiting and watching to see him pass, but he never did. A couple of minutes later, after feeling a little better, being in the company of others in that cafe, I went back outside, skipping ads, boop, got him. Went back outside and when I couldn't see the kid anymore, I almost ran the rest of the way to my car. This happened on a Friday. The nagging fear stayed with me for the rest of that weekend. I was very nervous, which is not like me at all. I'm usually a well-grounded and outgoing person, but for the next couple of days, I cut myself off from almost everyone. All I wanted to do was stay behind locked doors until the fear went away. I jumped at every sound. I am glad no one knocked on my door that weekend, or I probably would have freaked out. I routinely checked the windows and locked the doors and didn't really get any sleep at all. And when I did, I'd had nightmares of seeing those eyes. Thankfully, the uneasy feeling had gone away by Monday after I went back to work. A week or so later, I told a friend, the one who I told a friend, about what had happened, and she said it sounded like black-eyed children, which until then I had never heard of. I know what I saw was nothing in the way of makeup of any kind, but most of all, the fear that took hold of me was something so unnatural, and the thought of it still bothers me to this day. What's up, Ricardo? How are you? 59th, Rockin' Sully. Kakalina, how are you? Richie, this is how the chat is always like this. We're all friends here. This is unlike any live stream you've ever had or ever witnessed, to be honest with you. Nubian, tell them good luck. It's a bad idea. What's up, AWD? How are you? Jason Allen's with us. Aloha, my brother. Brett Alexander's with us tonight. Jeannie, how are you, Jeannie? That's great, Ricardo. Pops, thank you so much. Thank you. Christy, welcome to the live. I hope you enjoy it. Pups, thank you very much. Again, I appreciate you. I'm happy that you're here too, 59th. Happy that you're here too. Andrea, how are you? Sonia? Hey, Tyler, how are you? Yeah, I know. He's not doing better. He's in a third hospital now. He started in Glens Falls, went to Ellis, and now he's in Albany. Hey, buddy, how are you? Good night. I love you. Hang on, I got to text my daughter. She's going to bed. Ah, shit. Oh. God damn it. All right. What's up, Lorraine? How are you? Bruce, how are you? Haven't seen you in a long time. No, I did not, Bruce. My cell phone? No, it just slipped. I tried to pick it up like this and freaking all right, so really quick. JTAD wants to know about my encounter. Does anybody mind if I share my encounter with JTAD quickly? What's up, Liam from Cape Town. Holy shit. All right, you all good? Okay. So it was 1994. I was 17 years old. I live in the Adirondacks of New York, and so we have a lot of forests in my area. My friends and I, it was myself, my best friend Martin, who's Czechoslovakian, our friend Gabe, my girlfriend, and Martin's girlfriend. Me and Martin both had our licenses. Well, all five of us had our license, but the only person that was old enough to drive after 9 was our friend Gabe. So that's why he was kind of the fifth wheel out. But so we all parked in this cul-de-sac that these houses were getting built. And since this experience happened, the cul-de-sac has like quadrupled in size. That's how deep the woods went. And so we're all hanging out. We are listening to one of the greatest New York City hardcore bands ever, Biohazard. Just vegging out. Like, I was smoking cigarettes. No one was drinking. We weren't smoking weed. We were just hanging out. We're there for, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. And so the cul-de-sac, it's like a U shape, kind of, and then it comes back out onto the main road. And we were We were 3/4 of the way in. We parked so no one could see us from the main road, but we could see them. That way, if a cop came, we could leave. And so we're all hanging out. All of a sudden, this like screech, loud noise happens off in the distance in the woods. And I'll never forget a moment every minute of this experience. The girls are like, "What the hell was that? Vampires?" And I remember that because the vampire thing kind of struck me as odd because it didn't sound like I think a vampire would sound like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden we can see eye shines coming through the woods. Now, the important thing to know about these woods is when this cul-de-sac was getting built, they pushed all the trees and shit right into the woods. So there's rocks and debris. And then now there's like 6 or 7 skeletal houses at different stages of being built. So what was running through the woods is running through, a bunch of shit land, but very agile. There's like 4, maybe 5 eye shines at different height in the woods. Everyone's in the car. My friend Martin, I was not being brave at the time. I remember when the music got turned off is when I heard my friend Martin go, "Jeff, get in the car, bitch." And I only say that because that's how he sounds, because he's Czechoslovakian, and we taught him how to read out of a coloring book when we were young. So I get in the car, and Gabe punches it. And he's in this old Caprice Classic land yacht. The sails went up and everything. We get to Route 9 to turn to go home or go into town. So we're taking a left into town, and which would be north. We all see this 7-foot creature standing at the edge of the wood line at the end of the road, just staring at us. I can't recall if it had a tail. I know for the longest time I've thought about it, and I can't say yes it did, no it didn't, without being 100% sure. I know it had a shorter muzzle, and it was very athletic looking, but not jacked like a bodybuilder. It was just, it looked like it looked like it was meant to be hunting and be an apex predator in the woods. So it's standing there, very strange. It didn't look like it was from this world. That's the key thing. We're all freaked out. The next day, me and my buddy Martin go back, and we're looking for tracks because we're like, what the fuck was that? Pearl Green, thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. I appreciate you. So we're like, what the hell was that? And we're looking for tracks, and the gentleman that was in charge of the build comes over, and he's like, "Get the hell out of here." He starts yelling at us, and we're like, "Yo, we're just looking for my friend's dog. My friend's dog ran away. We can't find it." And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, "Well, we've had thefts, because they're different houses have different size builds. So people would be stealing wood and tools and shit." And so he's like, that's crazy because last night when we were getting done with the day of work, we heard a bunch of dogs fighting in the woods. And me and my buddy just looked at each other like, holy shit. So 20 something years go by, and the channel, I started this channel in 2017. And so 2021, I run into Gabe, the kid who's driving the car. Now, important thing is Gabe had dropped us like a bad habit. Like he just dropped us. We all grew up together. And I'm like, yo, what happened that night? Why did you not talk to us at all? And he's like, because I didn't know what the hell happened that night. I didn't want anything to do with you guys. He goes, I thought it was because you and Martin, because me and Martin listen to metal. Like we listen to like all kinds of music, but like Gabe was kind of flaky, you know, like Biohazard was New York hardcore, but like we listen to like Deicide and like, you know, like Fear Factory and all sorts of shit. Bruharia, you know, we were just dumb kids, Slayer. So he's like, I think it was because of you guys listening to your satanic music that, you know, and I'm like, dude, that had no idea, you know, nothing to do with it. He goes, I know that now. He goes, but the freakiest thing is when I was sitting in my car adjusting the radio, he goes, something caught me out of my peripheral, and I saw two of these creatures run from one side of the road to the next to get behind us. He goes, and that's when I turned the music off and started the car to get out of there. And I'm like, what? So this whole time, I never knew his side of the experience. And then when he told me his side, I was just like, dude, that is insane. So that's my encounter. What about the girls? What happened to them? They still live here somewhere. I don't know. They're just like high school girls. Thanks, Josie. Appreciate that, brother. Vicky, you're having tornadoes. Please be careful. It was pretty freaky. To hear, are you sure it wasn't swamp gas? Yeah, swamp gas takes the shape of a 7-foot dogman at the end of a cul-de-sac. Are you sure you're not huffing swamp gas? Just kidding. No, we didn't. No, exactly, David. Exactly. We knew about what was in front of us because they were at different heights. You know what I mean? And it was nuts, but not to notice that at the end. Little Horse. Yeah, I did a encounter with a guy from Ohio that saw 2 dogmen breeding yesterday. And actually, there was a police officer in Colorado that had killed one. What's up, Luxury? How are you? If you want to hear a crazy experience, listen to the one from Ohio yesterday. It was really strange. Cyclone approaching Queensland. Oh my God, dude. Now, Queensland, I know a little bit about Australia. I know there's been a lot of dogman experiences on the Gold Coast region of Australia. I'm not sure if that's by by Queensland or not. I'm from Albany, Kentucky. Jimmy Fields from Albany, Kentucky. Yeah, no cap. 100%. Listen to the experience. It was yesterday's. I'm doing well, Grant. How are you? Wow, Grant Wells. Holy shit. Haven't heard from you in a while. Glad that you're here with us. Yeah, the female was bigger. She was a bigger creature than the bigger monster than the male. Ric Flair's in the house with us. Woo! Why do you think dogmen are always aggressive, intimidating, while Bigfoot? Rick, Bigfoots are aggressive as well. I think dogmen just gets off on messing with people, more or less. It's Victoria. Okay. Victoria is where Gold Coast is. But there's been numerous accounts of Bigfoot being aggressive as well. I would not. Holy crap, from Haiti. What's up, Larry Leto? How are you? Thank you for joining us from Haiti. I got someone from, a bunch of Australia people, Haiti, Cape Town. Wow. Cougar dog woman. Nothing as of late, to be honest with you, Dean. Ethan, I'd love to hear him. Do you need my email or do you have it? No, I hear you, Grant. Life gets busy. Queensland is Gold Coast Truth Quest, or is Victoria Gold Coast? Which is which? I'm sorry. I've never heard of a dogman experience out of Haiti. Wait, no, not out of Haiti, out of Puerto Rico. But to be honest, I wouldn't put it past. Okay, it's in Queensland. I wouldn't put it past that. Sanhoff, when did you send it to me? Thank you, Eunice. I appreciate that. Last night. No, I didn't. Can you resend it? Please? I'm from a narcissist bee that pooped me out in Canada. Oh, Joe, I'm glad that you're doing better, though, Joe. I really am. I was thinking about you the other day. I fell asleep waiting for the live stream to start. Woke up. Bobby. Yes, Ethan. I'll put my email in here. Neck, are you still with us? Where's Neck? Love you too, Bobby. My email is between Bobby Schultz and Brett Alexander. Oh, absolutely, Rick. Absolutely, Rick Flair. That's what I said. I think they just get off on really upsetting these things, upsetting people. Yeah, I had Jay Cortez. I did share one, a dogman in Puerto Rico a while ago, like maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Jeez, Joe. I'm glad that you're doing better. That's right, Spirit Level. I did. Power supply. It's actually the CIA and it is Homeland Security. If you guys listened to last night's late bonus upload where I had the guy from Knott County, Kentucky come on, he went to school with Corey Godsey's mom, and he said, you know, there was Homeland Security was on the scene that day. But Victor worked for or with the CIA. RJ, yeah, it was good. It was good. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. When I say Victor, I'm not talking about Vic Cundiff. I have no anything. Victor was a guy who was on my channel that actually hunted these creatures. No, Roxy. What's up, Corey Cole? How are you? Denise, who are you proving wrong? Me? On what? The giant encounter is absolutely nuts. Miss Firehorse, there is a playlist in the channel. Skip ads. Boop. Oh, okay. Yeah, I miss Victor quite a bit, actually. There's a whole about 35 interviews that he has done, Victor. He worked for the United States government hunting these things down. I actually have 2 emails that I've shared on the channel. Where's Janie? That I've shared on the channel that shows that I got an email from the CIA. JTAD, I've got like 3 or 4 encounters about that on my channel. Bigfoot and Dogman working together. I don't think they would be. I don't think they're completely dominant, though. Randy, I don't know. Randall Kennedy, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. Yeah, Danny Lee Smith. If you guys ever want, if none of you guys have ever seen those emails, if you go to the community post part on my channel and you click on that and you scroll all the way down, there's actually photos that I put on the, you know, I like screenshotted them so you guys could see them. Derek Crawley, Brad will probably never come on the channel again. Just because he is afraid. You know, I'll agree. No Cap and Larry. When I first heard Victor, when Victor, the best, Michael, stay with us. Just crash out listening to us, brother. What's he scared of? Hang on 1 second. I'll answer that. The government, Denise. There was a bunch of shit that happened that he made me promise not to talk about ever. So when Victor first approached me and he's like, hey, this is who I am. This is what was happened to me. This and that. The Rake the Rake is, we call them crawlers because the Rake and the Slender Man are creepy pastas. I have a friend whose name is Tobias Wade, and he wrote the first story about the Rake, where the power went out in upstate New York and this and that. But crawlers exist. The Rake itself is a creepy pasta name, and Slenderman is a creepy pasta that almost killed a little girl. So not too much on that. I do believe there's some weird shit that is out in the woods. You know, people have seen strange men in the woods and stuff, but you know, I just don't. So anyway, when Victor reached out to me, I literally was talking to him one night and my face was like this because I was like, wait a second, does this guy think I'm an asshole? You know, like you're telling me all this shit, and how am I supposed to believe that, right? All of a sudden, bam, he sends me like photographic evidence of who he is, his military taxation forms, this, and that. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, and then he never, the amount of times that he was on the channel, if you ever listen to all of his videos, he never falters. He never, ever, he'll be telling an experience and refer to an experience, or when we did the live stream call-ins, he'd say something like 6 months prior and bam, he'd answer the same way. So it was just like, okay. You know, Second Amendment, that's another thing. So with Brad, when Brad had that experience with the Dogman and the angel, I don't think that was a guardian angel. Brad does, and that's awesome. That he has that, you know, that belief. But in my eyes, I really think that is like one of those Pleiadians or whatever they're called. I think it was an alien, an extraterrestrial kind of hunter. I don't believe it was an angel. Just by the way he explained it. Yeah, exactly. I don't believe that the Slender Man is a feral human, because Slender Man wears a suit, and I don't know too many feral humans that wear suits. Robert Sharp, you know, like where Tom Mezek disappeared. A Pleiadian is like it's a kind of like a blonde hair, blue-eyed extraterrestrial. Sandhoff. What's up, Robert Salazar? How are you? Exactly 59. So when I first started getting really deep into the Tom Mezek 411 case, which is in my backyard. For those of you guys who don't know, but most of you do, I interviewed a woman that her store was like part of the search for him. A lot of, you know, volunteers, police officers would get their coffee there and stuff. Now, she told me an experience. So when I park my car and I back up, you guys, Neck, there you are, buddy. No, I asked for you, buddy. I wanted to make sure you're still here with us. There's my big brother, Neck. So she told me the experience and where my car is always parked. She said her and her husband and her 2 kids were walking through the woods one night because prior to Tom Mezek disappearing, locals used to walk Lily Pond Road and Lily Pond Trail. Once he disappeared and everybody had thought about that, you know, had heard about that. You're welcome, Sam. People were like, you know, I don't want to go there anymore. That's fucking crazy. And so she had gone up there, and her and her kids and her husband are walking, Her kids don't see it. Her and her husband do. In the woods, she sees this guy all in black, like walking through the woods. Now he crosses the trail and continues to go into the woods towards Lily Pond. Now she realizes that this guy's feet is not touching the ground. And she's like, this is really scary. I had never heard of anything like that up in that region. But when I realized how crazy and weird that place is, and that there is probably a portal up there, why wouldn't something like that come out? North Face Kid, what's up? Yeah, North Face. Definitely. I really believe that it was one of those Pleiadians or whatever. RH, I agree, but I don't ever, that will never come out of my mouth. Did you ever get a chance to interview Charles Owensby? No. Never ever, Grant. Ever. Actually, when he disappeared, when I called the police there, I was like, is he still in jail? And they were like, no. And they just left it at that. I will, you know what? I am going to text Janie. Let's text Janie and see where she is. Oh, wait, her nephew's really sick. Oh, here it is. Jeff, I won't be on your live tonight, having a bit of heart issue. That encounter, my heart goes out to him, but dogs, limits. Okay. Janie's not going to be here tonight. Hope you feel better. Hope nephew is getting better. Live stream. Family wishes you well. Boop. Okay. I did, guys. I did. Little Orphan Andy. Yes, I did. I did an upload about that. Actually, I did a couple of them. And the government came out and said, no, it's not. They were gold prospectors. Gold prospectors eat people's faces, right? All right, here we go. You guys ready for another encounter? Yes, no, yes, no, maybe, no, yes, no. Stacey Lockett, how are you? All right, here we go. In the summer of 2012, 3 friends and I traveled to Red River Gorge in Kentucky for a 2-day hike. We were excited about the adventure and looking forward to a rejuvenating weekend. The first day was a joy. The sights and sounds of the woods were captivating and pulled me into a state of calmness and admiration for wildlife around me. At the halfway point of our trek, we decided to make camp at the bottom of a steep hill near a creek bed. The evening came, and after sharing our observations of the day with one another, we headed off to our tents. I lied there alone in my one-man tent. I had the tiniest bit of fear creep up on me. that gnawed on my brain, but I eventually fell asleep. I don't really recall having any dreams, but I did have an experience I can't quite rationalize. I felt like I was being abruptly pulled out of my tent by what seemed to be a man. It terrified me, but I was not able to fight. I was so scared I couldn't do anything. I thought I was dead at that point. The next thing I remember is waking up screaming, still in my tent, and it did not appear that anyone had been around me. It was early morning at this time, and I was wide awake, so I went outside of my tent and made the fire. I felt this presence the entire morning that pestered me and gave me anxiety. I didn't want to be there anymore. I felt like someone was staring aggressively at me. My friends woke up shortly after, and I shared with them what I experienced. There was support and understanding, but I was on the edge for the rest of the morning. It wasn't until we neared the end of our hike that day that the feeling of sense of relief packed in. I went back to Red River Gorge since then. I still enjoy hikes, but I will not camp out there ever again. That's what I got. It doesn't bother me so much anymore. I'll write it off as a bad dream. Another Red River Gorge, Kentucky experience. My wife and I were taking a small vacation trip last October at Red River Gorge area in Kentucky. After a full day of hiking and grabbing some dinner, we returned to our room to get some sleep. At about 3 a.m, my wife woke me up saying she was having severe stomach pains. I began to doubtfully be a doting husband. I got dressed and hopped in the car and ran down the road to pick up some stuff to settle her stomach, only to discover that things shut down for the night around here. After consulting Google, I found a 24-hour gas station some 30 minutes away and began my drive. After locating the exit, I began slowing down. I was somewhat paranoid of hitting a deer or something, especially since I am unfamiliar with the territory. As I made my exit, lo and behold, a deer ran out in front of me. As I watched it cross the road, I noticed something behind it. It was the outline of a man, but there was nothing solid to this man. I could see right through him, yet still clearly see his form. Now, I was wide awake with the deer having startled me, but I have no explanation for what I saw. The deer crossed the road, so did the man. For the rest of the trip, I kept feeling like I was being watched and continued having uneasy feelings for the rest of the day after. Glimmer Man, I don't like them. Luxury Slim, your girlfriend saw a crawler at Pompano Beach? If you don't mind, I'd love to hear that. RH, what do you want me to pop on the community post? What are you talking about? Glimmerman is exactly very similar. It does have like the characteristics of the predator. Can blend in, can do this, can do that. There's been a couple. There's one really kind of one that has stuck out with me for a long time about one at an Indian reservation. I'd love to see that Second Amendment. Thanks, Brandy C. Yeah, Sandhoff has got to send me her encounter. Let's see. Here's another Red River Gorge experience. I have no idea what we exactly saw that night. I have searched everywhere for sightings or even myths around the area where we saw it and have found nothing. My husband and I think it may have been a skinwalker. There are no skinwalkers in Kentucky. But I don't know. We all know, like, no, I didn't, Joe. Can you please send that to me? But I don't know. I haven't heard anyone else say they've seen anything at Red River Gorge in Kentucky. I guess I want help figuring out what we saw. All right, so they need help figuring out what they saw. Sandhoff's got to write it down. What's up, Red Cardinal? How are you? Yeah, Adam Doty. That is my dad's favorite experience. Grant, what do you mean? And thank you, Second Amendment. So my friends and I go camping a lot, and our favorite place is Red River Gorge, Kentucky. We go there often. And I have been there. I have been ever since I was an infant. I'm 28 now, married with kids. It's the closest place to where I live where you can see the Milky Way pretty much every night. It's perfect for stargazing, and I've seen shooting stars very clear. When you go without kids, we will go on night hikes to a lookout point and stargaze for hours. Our experience happened night hiking. We would go out on the trails we all knew well and used to, ones with log fences and gazebos, resting places. The most used trail is the trail in Natural Bridge State Park that leads up to the Natural Bridge. This trail is around 2 miles uphill, depending on your starting point. I've done this trail every summer and could possibly do it blindfolded. It has wooden steps, carved rock steps, handrails, multiple sitting points under a roof, trash cans, and after reaching the main trailhead, it has no lights at all. It's used often, and while it's uphill, the difficulty is low. As long as you have a good grip on your shoes and water, you'll be fine. My friends have done it multiple times, yada, yada. Let's get to the encounter. When we use this main trail to hike to the top, we would park at a designated area for the pool at Hoedown Island. You walk across the road that leads up to the pool to the first trail marker. You go up gravel for a while past the Natural Bridge State Park. There's a waterfall, some lights. Okay, let's get to your encounter. Enough for the chitter chatter. The night was weird to begin with. As soon as we started the hike, the clouds took over, and it appeared we'd be walking for nothing to even stargaze. But we went anyway, just in case it cleared up. In the beginning, it was just a normal paranoia that was keeping us stressed and quite quiet, it seemed. You know, you've reached the bottom of the bridge when you see a giant wall of limestone. During this time, there's a gazebo that sat to the right of the wall. The trail continued and followed the next to the wall, where you come to a fairly steep part of the trail, and the gazebo is welcomed. My husband, my best friend at the time, and I all sat at the gazebo steps, the benches under the roof, and even darker than the rest of the outside. So we stayed on the steps. Facing where you're looking down the trail that follows the limestone wall, we each had bright LED headlamps and handheld flashlights. We don't usually look at each other when on our night hikes because the lights are so bright. We sit in a line like the Lord's Supper and walk in a line or staggered so we don't blind ourselves. It is after hours at this point. No ski lift rides or gondola rides have gone on for hours, and rangers have already done their sweep and have left. We left no time between them making sure the trail and top were clear when we started our hike. The gondola takes you up to the top, but some workers stay and do counts and only leave after it's clear. I guess I have to make these points because that's what I was thinking when what seemed out of nowhere, a girl with a headlamp began walking down the trail we were looking out at. She was in a sundress and flip-flops. This hike is uphill, and while it is fairly easy to hike, it is not easy with no water or real shoes. She'd have to have hiked up and down to this point with no food or water. Her light was bright, and when she reached where the trail turns from the front of the gazebo to down where she came from, she stopped. She just stood there straight on, like how a human is presented in an anatomical drawing. She was looking directly at us sitting there, and her light made me bring my hand up to shield my eyes. She didn't turn away from our lights at all, or even seem to be bothered to have 6 LED lights aimed directly at her. I said, "Hello." She said, kind of with a pause between every word, something like, "Hello, how are you?" I said something like, "Good, how are you?" And she took longer pauses and said, "Oh, I'm fine." She then just stood there, still with her hands at her side facing us. Her light made it impossible to really see her face. It was bright. I had my hand up the entire time until she turned and walked slowly down the trail part we had just come up. She got to the part where the trail turns, and we all saw her light just stay in that one spot for a minute until she turned and her light faded. We wait for a while before continuing up. I make comments about how weird it was, and everyone else just made it out like it was me being afraid. But no one ever came after her. She had done this hike alone? And somehow without being found by a ranger. We got to the top and stayed and started to look down. I felt like it took much longer than usual. There were some stone steps named Fat Man Squeeze. When you get to the top of the bridge, you can walk across it whenever. Going up and being at the top, you could hear twigs snapping, almost alternating from left to right. We laid down and tried to stargaze, but the clouds were even thicker now. It was miserably hot, even though it was cloudy. We could hear voices at times, and my husband kept checking for people. He never saw anyone. We saw a light flash, never saw a person attached to it. And then we heard a bird call, but it wasn't a real bird at all. It sounded like a person making bird calls, like rhythmic and not of nature. I was convinced we were not alone and hadn't been alone this whole time. I asked to leave as soon as we were ready to go. And then I was scared at this point. And then I realized that my husband and my best friend were scared. We began going down the way we came and felt like it took way too long. We were going steady and quick down the hill, but not making any ground, it seemed. It feels like much longer, my husband said, and I agreed. I kept looking behind with my flashlight, and my husband was looking to side by side. My best friend kept looking forward. I kept feeling like we were being watched, and we kept hearing footsteps. Now we are now hiking the flattish area compared to the downhill. The bend is or what is this? Okay. Then, like downhill, the log fence and handrail, or whatever it's called, we are in the row walking and reaching the distance barrier, and my husband just stops walking altogether and says, "What's that?" But the question is more like an alert, and I move my hand lamp in the direction, and I don't see anything at first. Then both of the lights catch a shape, and then my headlamp catches it, and I move my headlamp to center and see all 6 lights shine onto this kind of reflective, lightish gray creature. It was bent in a crouched position, kneeling on its right leg, and it started turning towards us. It starts to slowly stand, and my mind is racing. It looks human, but it's far too big. People mistake human shapes for what's actually bears in the woods, but this was far too skinny. It was thin and tall and almost white. It was so lightish gray. Its skin resembled a dolphin. There was a shine to it, and our lights were reflecting off of it. It gradually comes to a full standing position in front of us. Its head is long, its eyes are in human position, in the front of its face, not on the side like animals, but I could not see any other facial features, just big, almost empty holes or pits. It looked directly at us. The way it stood was intimidating, almost like when a snake rises up and flexes its neck all crazy to show the prey that it is stronger and smarter. It was like it was stepping up to a fight, from crouching, then standing up in front of us. Arms hung low, hands seemed far too long. Its hands had to be by its knees. I couldn't process what I was seeing. Then I just feel my husband hit me on my back and yell, "Run, run!" I start to understand we have to get away from this thing, and it pivots and runs to the right, going backward on the trail so it could get around the barrier and onto the trail behind us. We take off running the rest of the way down the trail, knowing that this thing just took off much faster than us, and after it had crossed from behind the barrier, it would be gaining on us quick. We didn't talk at all because when we tried, it felt almost like we were going to get caught. We kept running as fast as we could to be at areas that we knew were far too steep and had to slow. It never felt like we were out of this thing's sight. As we made it to the trail, beginning with the gravel, we could hear something to the side crashing down through the forest. We ran until we got to our car and drove as fast as we could out of there. When that thing looked at us, I knew that it was smarter and faster than us. I knew that if we hadn't seen it, it could have easily taken one of us and gotten away. I think the only reason it hesitated was because so many of us saw this thing and we all stayed together. When we made it back to where we were staying, we were all shook and we all took our phones out and wrote notes about what happened. We hadn't spoken about that until we looked at each other's phones and the notes. And they were the same, without a doubt. We had all seen the same thing and it was real. Crawler. Crawler? Aramic, what's up? Derek, most definitely. Oh yeah, Grant. I figured that after I started narrating. What's up, Aramic? I hope you're doing well. 100% crawler. Hey Zilla, how are you? Would you rather see a crawler or a dogman? Seen a dogman, don't want to see a crawler. Oh. Sorry, guys. Wilburn Bishop, what's going on? So, all right, when we first started to hear that, definitely not a crawler. Yeah, I want you to go look at Cody Ick Titan Spirit Box. You will hear the demon say, "Tell Denise hi." Is that on YouTube? All right. Thank you, Joe. All right, I'll check it out after. I don't know. Did you guys ever see, Denise, did you ever see my experiences with my spirit box here? What's up, Paul? How are you? Or when I did the Conjuring House, that I caught some of the greatest evidence of the crooked neck lady. There were people, there's been people that have gone to the Conjuring House that have never caught anything ever. And on my SLS camera, I caught the crooked neck lady, and it's on my channel. It's on my YouTube channel, Denise. I caught the crooked neck lady. I caught a bunch of stuff on my spirit box. And if you go to the Conjuring and watch the Conjuring video that I did, you can see all of my paranormal stuff. It's downstairs, so I'd have to. I did one at Tom Mezik's. Titan, spirit box. Prince and oh. Ugh. So he just sits there with his spirit box? Is that your spirit box, Denise? Good to see you, Aramek. I hope you're doing well. I don't know who Cody ITC is. So it was talking to you? And is that all he does is just sit? I know that. I just watched it. I just pulled it up. Is that all he does is just sit in a room, or does he actually go to haunted locations? Okay. I haven't seen anything new in Gila. Nothing new, Nick. Nothing new coming out from nothing new coming out from Junior or his dad. Oh, okay. Roxy W, an SLS camera. It's a camera that it projects infragreen. There's a tablet connected to it, and it shoots out these green kind of beams that you don't see, which then puts back a video of what's in front of you. If I put it in front of a person, a stick figure would show up. If nothing is in front of you, you pick something up, a spirit, a stick figure comes up then too. Kind of like a laser grid, but multiple. Kyle Santiago, thank you for joining the membership, my friend. Yeah, Brett Alexander. Yeah, Paul Davy does have a couple of videos about people mentioning metallic noises, but I actually caught one at the missing 411 that David talked about. And my uncle was the sheriff. He's in that movie, The Hunted. Yep, RH, exactly. If all my ghost hunting equipment is downstairs. Um, I, my daughter, my oldest daughter and her boyfriend have my whole downstairs of my house right now. Otherwise, I'd probably do my live streams down there because it's a bigger room. Next week I'll have all my ghost hunting equipment up here. Aramic, no, I haven't. My dad is in the hospital and has been for 19 days, so I've only met doctors and nurses that I don't really want to meet. But I do have a TikTok account, and I only posted one video of it. And no, it's not, hey guys, we're at the Gifting Rock. It's me actually doing the Conjuring House video. If you go to my TikTok account, you can see that video without having a. Thank you, Captain America. I appreciate it. I know Steve Hoffman. Don't go to the Gifting Rock. Your butt cheeks will definitely get clapped, Larry. Well, I wanted to make sure that you guys could see it, but I don't like gifting, or I don't like Gifting Rock. I don't like TikTok that much, so I didn't want to put it, you know. Ugh. What's up, Dale? Was your car moving when you heard the howl? No, we were outside. Which guy, Pollock? Many muscles. My arms are tiny. My cat is laying right here. So I think my Christmas present is gonna be, I'm getting the tattoo. I'm gonna get the tattoo probably the 23rd. And it's gonna be that. We're gonna put it right here. So we'll have the forest right here, we'll have Bigfoot here, and we'll have Dogman right here. Hopefully everything goes well with my dad and I can actually celebrate Christmas this year. GG. Really, Derek? No, I haven't heard from Bill in a while, to be honest. What's the gifting rock? Is it someone? Yes, it is, Stacy. It is. It's a guy, it's a TikTok guy that created this whole thing. And it's a big joke. Jeff, you popped that tidy wood. Ha ha ha, neck. Wilburn Bishop. Actually, I've been covering Dogman cover-ups for years now, like probably 4 years. And Sean Atwood had me on his channel talking about it because I have probably over 100 different cover-up attacks that are not animal, that are blamed on animal. Yes, Dale Little, I did. Yeah, I know of him. It's the same guy that has How to Hunt. That same guy. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Nothing, Dale. Nothing at all. What did I make you do? Nothing from Victor, guys. Nothing. If I had anything from Victor, I'd let you guys know. Me too. Me too. Pollock, I asked which guy because I've had a couple of different experiences with Dogman being on their roof. So I don't know which one you're talking about. The guy from Virginia? I hope that Victor is, I hope that he's getting better. I hope that he hasn't responded to my texts or call because he might be in like a rehabilitation place getting better. My only fear is that he passed away. And I don't think I did when he got sick and was in the hospital. I talked to his son and his daughter-in-law, but I don't know if they would ever call me again to fill me in on everything. You know what I mean? So hopefully he's okay. Alan, what? Steve, I told me about you, Jeff. Alan, I don't know what you mean. Alan Howell, please fill me in. Yes, the guy in Michigan. Is that correct? Oh, the guy from Michigan. That's fake, Pollock. That guy's fake. That's the gifting rock guy. He's fake. It all came out that he's doing it as a joke. What is the quickest way to tell a chromosome sex? You pull down your genes. Ha ha! He must have, Denise. Well, I think. Wait, Steve guy talked about me, Alan? He knows about me? Rob, whose book? Victor's book? I will. I'm writing the book. So when it's done, I'll narrate it and put it out. Wait, he talked about me, Alan? How does he know about me? That's weird because he's got like 2 channels that are friggin' huge. Robert Sharp, have a good night. Skipping ads. Oh, he said I was trustworthy? Did he talk to you in particular? No, Stacy, he never admitted he was fake. He did in a way. He did in a way because he hit everybody with Sammy Batshit Crazy, welcome. He hit everybody with all like creators who were sharing his videos and putting his TikTok out there for people, you know. He hit everybody with a copyright strike. No, so it was on one of his videos. Yeah, yeah. I know he's big. I know he's really big. I like what he does. He's like, I don't watch other channels for a reason of, I think like when you watch other channels, you might get, you know, jealous or jaded or whatever. But I do know that his channel is legit and it's like one of the best channels out there. Thanks, 43 minutes. Thank you. I'd love to just sit down and shoot the shit with him. How to hunt, Hardith. How to hunt. Thanks, Eunice. It's how to hunt, Denise. Thank you, Pops. No, DW is not popped in yet. Nor Thunderbolt. Thank you, Sandhoff. What's up, IE Native? How are you? William Menendez, how are you? You know, I think he's good, and I think he's good because like he goes outside and does the shit, you know, like he seems legit to me, you know what I mean? Like he seems really legit. Demon, have a good night. You're welcome. Eleven, what's going on? How are you tonight? Jeff, do you do a live every Saturday night? Yes, I do, JTad. Yep. Sam and Colby are not fake though. I can attest to that because Colby Brock introduced me to Paul Pedersen Jr. and they are legit, really serious about getting information and getting proof of the paranormal. As far as them, like when they team up with people, I think that's more or less for views. But he really, like Colby and Sam, really do when they're by themselves. They just want to get the real, you know, like when they went to the Conjuring House or other places. Oh, Weather, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Eunice. Alan, who does? Well, Stacy. Oh, jaded. I guess I'm jaded. I'm not jaded. I said jaded because I don't watch like other cryptid channels. You know what I mean? RC, what's going on? 59th. They are kind of. Plus Colby Brock, he had cancer. He had ball cancer. And he actually was able to beat it. So get that $20 is $20, baby. Do I think cryptids are interdimensional? Yes, I do think some. Not all of them. Not all of them, but I do believe they travel through portals. Some don't. Nothing, Jason. Nothing. I have not. I've got way too much on my plate going on. Which ones? Which cryptids? I think Bigfoot is able to use portals to travel through. I think that I don't know about Dogman. I really don't. Possibly crawlers, but I really believe that there are other creatures that come out of these portals that we have no business knowing. Jeff, do you think dogmen are strictly Native American base ship shapers? No, they don't shapeshift, Weather. Wolfen's a great movie. Wolfen's an amazing movie. Derek, more than likely, 1 foot at a time. Asshole. Best episode ever, all of them. I don't have a favorite episode because I think every upload shares information that is good for us to know. Is it $20? $20 time? $20 is $20. Most terrifying episode. Not sure. There's a lot. I think Delaware, Pennsylvania, the giant one, LBL with the lady with the dogmen that attacked her dogs. Dale Little, have a good night, my friend. It's been so long, Sanhoff. I hope so. There's a police car parked right outside of the synagogue. I'm on the second floor. I have the whole building, but I live on the second floor. My daughter and her boyfriend are on the first floor. It's my building, but they just live downstairs. My studio used to be 11. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. Let's find an encounter. Ooh. 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 What you gonna do? Here we go. Hang on a second. Gotta adjust. Had to adjust the old sackaroonie. All right. This one is going to be scary. We all hooked up on black eyes. You know I was getting to that 59th. Here we go. No, it wasn't a scratch butt. It was adjust the nuts. I've had a couple of city encounters. I don't have them in front of me. St. Louis is a good one. All right, here we go. I don't have the experience in front of me, so I can't tell it. And it seemed unthreatening. What would you do? Walk away. I would look down and I would walk away. Grant Wells, have a good night. All right, here we go. My story begins on the Long Island Expressway back in December of 2001. I drove a black sedan for a car service from Delaware to JFK Airport in New York. I made the trip a dozen times and knew my way around the side streets on my route. One night at around 12 a.m., I was on my way to JFK when a car exited the two-lane expressway at the standstill. I talked to my passenger, let's call him Steve, and decided to take the side streets. We jumped off of Sheepshead Bay and started on our way. We began talking about how creepy the name Sheephead Bay is, when out of nowhere a 57 Chevy Bel Air appeared. Steve jumped up and threw his arms over the side passenger seat and said, "Dude, check out that car." We both looked out the driver's side window as we came to a stop at a red light. As the car came to a stop, we continued to stare. It was beautiful. Chrome trim, red paint, convertible. It was December and it was low 30s. There was a couple in the car, both within 50s, wearing 50s clothing. It was a short guy with a brown derby hat and a brown coat. The woman had a scarf draped over her head like a hood, big round framed glasses, and a leather jacket. My passenger yells out, "Nice ride!" Both of them turned slowly in unison and looked at us. Black eyes, huge black eyes. We both froze. As the light turned green while still looking at us, they began to take a left turn. We sat there stunned as the car drove away towards Manhattan. While still a bit stunned, we make a right turn. Not a word was said between me and Steve. He slumps back in his seat and says, "What the hell was that?" I had no answer. We continued down the road where I saw the expressway was open, so we jumped on the ramp and we were back on course. As we entered the expressway, I could see the blue lights of emergency vehicles in the distance behind us. We were on the expressway alone, no other traffic ahead or behind. It looked like smooth sailing from here on out. Steve at that point was still shaken and he climbed back to the front and hopped into the passenger seat. We started talking about what had just happened when I could see the headlights approaching in a rear view. The first thing I thought was, I must have been speeding. I moved to the right lane and basically waited for the blue lights of the patrol car to come on so I could find a place to pull off since there was no shoulder. All of a sudden, the headlights moved to the right. I couldn't believe it, and I yelled, "The car!" It just jumped over the curb onto the sidewalk and began passing us on the right. Guess who? The black-eyed couple was back. They passed us over 100 miles an hour. We looked over, and within telephone poles flashing between us, the driver looked at us. His eyes were a glossy black again. Without taking his eyes off of us, he floated back onto the expressway and rocketed out of sight. I say float because the car never actually jolted as they jumped the curb and passed us. It just kind of slid onto the sidewalk. We continued down the expressway until we reached the airport. We didn't say a lot to each other as he got out of the car and grabbed his bag. Before he walked away, he said, Sheephead Bay is really creepy name for a neighborhood. This guy's talking about JFK. You know, my grandma's house is in Rosedale. And when I was younger, sitting on the back porch, because she had a small little porch in a small like backyard, like really not even a backyard. It was just this like strip. The planes would just freaking whoosh right over the house. It was so cool. Yeah, no cap. Dean Ferguson, I don't have any. I can look for some for next week though. Anything else from Steph? No, I have not heard anything from Steph or the rancher. Bill is his name, from Washington. MJ Bates, thank you so much. Exactly, Aramek. George Coker, thank you very much. I really appreciate the love. I really do. I really, really do. You know, I kind of want to say something about that. Is 2 UFOs. Holy cow, Cherry. When I started the channel, like I never ever anticipated to ever get more than 100 subscribers, you know? I just wanted to, I had just kind of gotten done dealing with knowing that I had a terminal illness, and I needed something to do to keep my mind occupied so I wouldn't think about it anymore. And so I started, like, you know, I didn't know what or how I wanted this channel to go. And I shared my encounter, and then I realized, you know, let's just do something that you love, which is the paranormal, you know. And when I named it Dogman Encounters with Jeff Nadolny, I really felt like I had boxed myself in, you know what I mean? Because everyone was like, you can't talk about or you can't talk about anything other than Dogman. And I was like, I got to change the name. And once I did that, it was, you know, it's been nothing but great. And I never anticipated on ever having this channel be what it is, ever. And I'm just grateful that you guys think that it's that good, that you guys should, you know. I know. You know what's crazy is I have over 24 million views though. Jeff, hear any more of those encounters near Newburgh? I was up that way. Yes. No, I haven't. I had a weird encounter happen to me in Newburgh once. Thank you, Stacy. What did... Why isn't this working? Oh, here it is. Sakasa. PNH. It's a rare illness. Actually, when I was diagnosed with it, they didn't know what until I ended up at Syracuse Hospital. Mr. G, holy shit, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Better than, yeah, Denise, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks, 43. I don't have any other thing like to do with my life except raise my two daughters. Well, my one daughter, because one's 19. So now but she still lives with dad. But anyway. Okay, so sometimes this is only forum to talk about. So we have. Oh, Aramek, thank you. All right, so the Newberg experiences. Check this out. This is fucking weird. Um, I'm I had and it goes along with something that I'll talk about right after. So I had just gotten out of rehab because obviously I don't hide anything. If like I had an addiction. I was addicted to drugs for opiates for years. I was 19 years old. So it was after my Dogman experience. And this is crazy because I hadn't done any opiates before my Dogman experience, right? So I end up in this rehabilitation center in Beacon, New York, which is just outside of Newburgh. Now, Jackie Gleason had donated his pool table to the rehabilitation center I was at because he had gone there back in the day. And as all of you may know, Jackie Gleason has a home in Newburgh that is built like a UFO. So I go to the train station. I get out of rehab and I go to the train station and I sit down. And this huge black guy starts walking towards me. And I'm from New York. I'm not really afraid of people. I had grown up in upstate, but I've gone to the city plenty of times. I have family that lives there. And he sits down right next to me and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" And we just start talking because he sees I got a Walkman with me and he's like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "Wu-Tang." And we start vibing and he goes, "Have you ever heard of the Reptilians?" Now this is 1996. He's like, "Have you ever heard of the Reptilians?" And I'm like, No, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Mike Tyson is a reptilian." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Mike Tyson is a reptilian." And I'm like, "Okay, um, what is that?" And he explains to me, draconian, yes. He explains to me all this stuff about reptilians, right? And he hands me this brochure, this like book. It was like, so you take 10 pages like this, right? And like this, and hands it to me. And it's got like all this like information about reptilians and like UFOs and stuff like that and what to look for. I get on my train and he boarded the train with me, but I never saw him after that. And I was like, "Where'd this dude go?" But it was the weirdest thing that ever happened. Well, not ever, but and I've gone to I know I had that brochure in my mom and dad's house in my room upstairs, but I've never found it again. Like I can't find it. And I wish so bad that I could like go back in time, find that book, that brochure, and share it with you guys because I know it has some crazy shit in it. I know it. Because 96, dude, no one was talking about reptilians then. And he's like, "Mike Tyson is a reptilian. This is this and this is that." And I'm like, 19 years old. You know what I mean? And this dude was as big as Tyson, too. As big as Tyson. No, I don't even think David Icke was talking about it at that point either. Andy Davis, what's up? How are you? 11 getting the little reptilian figure out. We'll investigate. Please do, Mr. Fuji. Just a very interesting, you know what I mean? Like just something strange that has always stuck with me. Andy Davis is back. How are you, Andy? I 100% reptilians are real. I 100%. Did you see it? Most definitely. Was he, Derek? Okay, maybe that is where this guy got the information and he put it together. I don't know. V series was definitely a disclosure. Definitely a disclosure. Let me see if I got any reptilian shit here. I know someone asked about hearing, or here, you know what? People wanted to hear about UFOs, so I'll do something interesting. Let's see. This looks pretty good. No. Trying to find something good. Oh my God. All right, here. This is a USO instead of a UFO, but I myself believe that UFOs can be unidentified submerged objects or whatever. All right. This occurred in Key West, Florida on 8/17/2018 at 1:30 in the afternoon. My friend and I had returned to our cruise cabin and went on the balcony to look out at the water. I noticed a helicopter, then birds. We then saw these white balls of light zigzagging in the sky, sometimes together in unison, other times separately in different directions. They went straight from the sky into the water and then would reappear back in the sky, even though we watched them to come out. We were watching for them to come out. At one point, they came together less than 100 feet in front of us, side by side, still not moving, facing us. We felt that they were looking at us like we were looking at them. Then, together, they started slowly moving in a straight line towards us. They came so close that we ran into our cabin and pulled the curtains and turned the lights out. We later found the courage to peep out of the sliding glass door and saw nothing. It was scary. We were the only people we could see who were on the balcony because it was so late. We thought they would take us and no one would know what happened to us or would have thought we had fallen overboard. We were on the 7th floor. I later looked into how many people went missing on cruise ships and found that it has happened many times. Dude, can you imagine that? That's scary. Gravity, you're going to the Cheesecake Factory? Derek Crawley, have a good night, my friend. Get some good snacks. Isra. What is Isra? I know what these people are talking about. I'll send an email. A ton of those in Key West. Check this out, no cap. Here we go. Here's another one. Did you guys like that or no? What's going on, Denise? Who's starting stuff? What's going on? All right, Andy. Denise, who are you talking to? Yes, science fiction is. Oh, RH. Oh, you can get him. All right, check this out, guys. It was the summer of 2000, and I was just a non-rate station. I was just on a non-rate station on a 110 Coast Guard cutter off the coast of Key West. We had enjoyed 3 days of calm weather, and the seas were glassy and smooth. Rare nights like this are when smugglers like to make their runs, and we were sitting on a darkened ship on a known drug route. An awesome fishing spot due to a massive drop-off underneath us. We had our radars set at max, our ears wide open, and our mouths clamped shut. Sounds carry like crazy out here, and sometimes you can hear engines of those go-fasts screaming before radars even pick them up. But tonight, it was dead, no activity at all. I was coming onto a bridge for the 0330 watch. Our JOD was checking the equipment for the pass down. When he got to the radar, he gave me a little WTF under his breath. The oncoming OOD came over to see what was up, said the same thing, then called our CEO on the sound powered phone. We heard him say, "Hey Cap, we have 2 contacts moving fast, coming straight at us about 40 knots. So we think we are about to see some action." And everyone starts getting amped up when we hear him give the speed 400 knots and holding steady. At this point, we think it's the radar anomaly or some running rabbit's radar type echo. But these 2 staggering contacts stayed on scope, and their signal got stronger. Whatever it was about the size of a cargo ship moving 450 miles an hour and wasn't even leaving a wake. You can see a wake on the radar, especially on a calm night. After hearing the CO is on deck in his bathrobe, about 30 seconds later, just staring at the radar, and everyone is perplexed, trying to get a look in over his shoulder. So he sends us all out onto the bridge wing with night vision goggles and has us all looking for these things. Every few seconds, he is counting down the range. And right when he got to 8 miles out, they simply dropped off radar. Boom, gone. Now, both of us non-rates get sent down to the bow of the ship and are told to listen for anything. See if we can hear anything or see anything or whatever. So we listen and it's all quiet. We can hear is our blood pounding in our ears. Then, after not even a minute of vigilance, we see something. 2 lights underwater moving fast coming directly at us. If we had blinked, we would have missed them. In just a moment, they had passed directly under our bow and were gone. The best description I can give would be like 2 train lights moving slightly staggered, not too deep under crystal clear water, maybe 40 or 50 feet down. The leading vessel was slightly silhouetted by the trailing vessel, and the brief impression I got was like an engine car of a train, just way larger. It was over so fast, I really never got a look, so I can't say much more about them. My fellow lookout and I exchanged a shocked look at each other, and he asked me if I had seen it as well. We talked excitedly about it for a second and then ran back to report our findings. After we had made it to the bridge and started telling the CO what we had seen, the quartermaster shut us up, saying
They had popped back up on radar. Sure enough, 8 miles out, there they were, still moving, staggering at 400 knots. We watched them disappear off radar at about 40 plus miles in silence. All of us just held our positions until they passed out of range. Then the old man asked us what we saw. We told him, and after a minute of silence, he just said, "Weird, radar glitch it is." Then sighed and went back to bed. After he wished us all a good watch and went below deck, the COB, most senior chief of boat, pulled us up from the flying bridge to talk. He basically told us that there are lots of weird things out here and that this was not the first time he had heard about underwater oddities from sailors, but was the first time he had ever been part of one. He didn't say we shouldn't tell anyone, but he made it pretty clear most people wouldn't believe us. All right, no cap. Pity, 100%. I agree with you 100%. If anyone, that's what, have you ever have you ever met somebody and they're like, they believe in Bigfoot or they believe in the paranormal, like spirits and entities and stuff, but then they're like, but there's no such thing as aliens. Has anybody ever met anybody like that? Cocoon was a great movie. No, Sandhoff, I've never heard of him, but I will look into him. Yeah, RH. This much. Oops, wrong. All right, here we go. A friend and I were followed and eventually taunted by what looked like an alien for hours one night in 2012. The things that took place that night were the scariest things I had ever seen. Not even fiction have I heard or seen anything like it. A short version, I was just bored one night with a friend and decided to walk home at dark from a local gas station, a little bit over a mile. I live in Louisiana, so it's acres of woods on either side of us. Despite trying to explain away the sound of breaking branches as if something was following us, the sound of something walking next to us lasted all the way until the first light pole near the neighborhood. Now feeling brave with the light pole in the first house in sight, I yelled taunts at where the sounds were coming from. We stared at the moving brush, and a head popped out and just stared at us. We both saw it and later drew the same exact thing, so we weren't imagining it. We ran until we ran out of breath and were followed by red lights, like small red laser dots from the distance, in pairs like eyes. From the distance, anywhere we looked, they would appear anywhere we focused on for too long. Finally, at my friend's house, all three of his dogs are hiding and whimpering under his truck, laying side by side. They are usually hyper as hell, and we couldn't even drag them out because they would run right back under. As soon as we walk into the house and close the door, small pebbles started hitting every side of the house. A back window breaks from one, And there's a pair of tiny red lights in the distance everywhere you looked outside. It slows down and we gain enough courage to walk outside and yell. We walked down the steps and started yelling. Suddenly, out of the complete silence behind the neighbor's house, a pair of white, shiny eyes, like a wolf, but not attached to any form, slowly approaches us. It started slowly, and by the 200-foot mark, it started sprinting towards us and separating into an additional two pair of eyes as it was charging. We ran inside and locked the doors behind us. Seconds later, it threw itself at the door, or at least what sounded like. We looked toward the front door, which the center is stained glass, and you could clearly see the silhouette of a 4-foot large headed being inches from the door. Then the rocks start being thrown again, while pebbles are being thrown. Allison Dunn, thank you so much. Thank you. While pebbles are being thrown, hitting every side of the house, we look out the front window. We are standing in the center of the living room next to each other with a kitchen knife. Both of us are crying at this point. Outside, across the street, is an abandoned house covered in moss. Its kitchen lights are on. You can see plants and stuff inside. It's just a table in there. There is no electricity running in that house, but the lights were on. The light goes out. Honestly, I don't remember how much of the rest of the night from that point. The last thing I remember is we were sitting in the center of the living room, both with kitchen knives back to back, sitting on a bed, crying as pebbles are hitting the house. In the morning, we drove past where we saw this alien pop its head out, and 3 state police cars and a regular-looking truck were parked by the brush in the woods as if they were searching. Looking back, I wonder why the hell didn't I try to record any of this? But I remember back then, I just had one of those black and white texts with numbers type of phone. God, I wish I had the tech I do now. I would almost say I'd experience it again just to be able to record it. But I only say that because I was with someone during that time. I imagine if I was alone, I would pass the hell out or something. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. Did the English breed them as well? Dogmen? Not to my knowledge. Per Victor, it was just the States. VHS. I was just talking about that movie, Pity. Guys, do you remember when I was talking? Rochelle, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow, you guys are awesome tonight. Thank you. Much older creatures than just Jurassic Park technology out there, 100%. Caden's awesome. Caden is on a list. He is on a watch list with his camouflage balaclava and shit. I love Caden. Every time I go to bed and I flip through the shorts, all of a sudden there's Caden. Looking Caden. VHS is a movie. It's on Amazon. And I gave it for homework last week or 2 weeks ago. What's up, 357? How are you? I'm glad you're here with us. No, Caden is definitely not ninja status. Caden is... There was some asshole the other day that made some douchey comment about Caden. And he said something about it, and I was like, dude, you're a douchebag or something to the guy. What's up, BN? BN Sekov? BN Sekov. MJ. I don't know what the homework is yet. I don't know. But I'll do my impersonation of Caden. Hi, guys. Caden here. Microtech. Nice knife. Stab. Caden. Gotta love him. Fucking love that kid, man. He's so funny. He's a good egg. Caden is a good egg. He's the egg that you don't want to crack. You just want to leave it in your fridge till it spoils. The new Exorcist movie is great. Jeff, you still got the email I sent you? Andy Davis, yes? Yes. Yes, I do, actually. All right, guys, here. I'm going to offer you this. A half an hour more, or we stop the live stream. But if we do a half an hour more, I got to run to the bathroom quick and piss it. You pick. Piss it or end. Piss it. Yes, Andy, send it to me, please. I'm going to piss it. That was good. Yes, I did. I did. Dude, I had to pee that bad. I had to pee that bad. It just came out. I was like, whoa. Thank you, Kathy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Skip the ads. What's up, Jody Bateman? How are you? Jeff, scroll up. Is it just me, or does anybody else hear the Jeopardy theme song? Yes, hit me back. Caden is always flirting with RH for some reason. What is Uran? I don't know. Urine. Uran. Uranus. Jody, I'm glad you're here with us, brother. I'm glad that you're here with us. Laura, nothing on Victor. I honestly don't know anything. I called and didn't get anything from him. My dad is still in the hospital and doing worse. Well, guys, it's time to go to the gifting rock. I got my bottle of KY jelly. I think I'm going to get my ass cheeks clapped by the Bigfoot today. I'm leaving my son home so he doesn't get butt busted. But this will be fun. Maybe he'll knock me out next time and love me up real good. This looks interesting. There we go. Another encounter. Here we go. Dude, you know Bigfoot likes him too, because he's a little chubby of a guy. So Bigfoot's like, I'm going to get that boy and his big old booter, more cushion for the pushing. And he takes that Michigan booter and gets it. Old Bigfoot at the gifting rock. Another encounter. Thank you, Pity. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I'll tell that story in a second. The old booter. Gotta get me some booter. A little more cushion for the pushing. All right. My dad and his mom sold their souls to save the lives of their family members during the worst days of the Great Depression. Their neighbor across the road in that coal town was outside watching his younger siblings. Oh, really quick. This takes place in Appalachia, Ohio. My dad and his mom sold their souls to save the lives of their family members during the worst days of the Great Depression. Their neighborhood across the road in that coal town was outside watching his younger siblings. My dad's mother was in the garden hoeing and seeding. That bit of information will be important for later. The neighbor was then a young man old enough to take an adult job. There was one job opportunity and many men were applying for it. My dad put in a good word for him, they being the same age, and even gave him a newly ironed shirt off of his back to wear to the interview so he'd get the job. That happened that morning. In the evening, everyone was feeling good in the town because this man's pay would keep many of them alive. Everyone shared, and Dad's family was known for sharing even though it hurt them. Then different people in the town, along with Dad's neighbors, witnessed a huge fireball coming across the sky. It made a maneuvered turn to head towards Dad's house. This man and his siblings looked at each other and started to run to help, though it looked like no one would survive what was heading over them. They found that their legs would not move, and even using all of their strength and upper body strength, they could not free their legs. They woke up the next morning not knowing how they got into bed or even in the right bedclothes. Not only were their parents unresponsive to their talking about this incident to get their help to go help Dad's family, but their parents were frozen in place, not breathing or speaking. Seeing as that particular topic always caused them to do that, they stopped doing it, making up their minds to go over themselves. Across the road, they went and onto the property down the lane a bit. and in full view were all members of the family aside from Dad and his mom, all lined up looking scared to death, but nonetheless undamaged. A short distance from the house was a circular area that was smoking heavily. The law in coal country was that everyone pitched in to put out a fire because all the houses were sitting on top of coal that lay on the surface. If it got into the coal field at any depth, it may not stop burning ever. So, loss of homes, loss of jobs, loss of all they held dear. Dad came walking toward them with a shotgun in his hand. His mom was not far behind. She was also carrying a shotgun. Dad told them to leave the property and never come back. He didn't seem himself, and those two families had been like kin to each other for a very long time. Dad showed them that his gun was loaded, as did his mother, and they walked them off the property at gunpoint. From that day on, he and his mom were never the same again. I saw her days before her death and saw something come out of her eyes. She became a very kind, cheerful person, which was everything I knew she had never been. Her eyes were different. She asked if she was in heaven, and I said no. She asked who we were. Dad and I were the only people there. I told her I was her granddaughter and this was her son. She stammered and said that it couldn't be. Then she wanted to know how she got there, since she was in her garden hoeing and seeding. Remember that before the fireball came down, the neighborhood had seen her in the garden hoeing and seeding. She looked at her hands and began shrieking loudly. She asked how her hands could be so old and wrinkly and began sobbing. Dad got a mean look on his face and told her to remember that she agreed to a deal and she must stand by it or else. She died when she was 92. It was after her death that the family, along with my aunt, uncle, and cousins, went down to the old home place they had grown up to get some of Grandma's flowers from her rock garden. The house was long gone and the trees and plants were all grown over. The forest had reclaimed the property. That's why we found it very odd that perfectly circled area that Dad stood sobbing over was quite peculiar. Nothing was growing there. No birds flew over. No bugs were seen there. Nothing living. In fact, the entire area was devoid of life. The rock garden some distance away was blooming with growth, as well as the woods, plants, flowers nearby were doing well. No other area was devoid of life except that circular area. My brother dragged me over there so I could help him figure out why Dad was crying while looking at that spot. Standing there on the rim of the circle area, I said under my breath, "What in God's name is he looking at?" That's when something very strange happened. The ground over the circle eased off of it back to the edge of the circle like a reverse of water pooling on the floor. I saw this saucer-shaped craft, and then it opened up like those medical books with transparent pages showing the nervous system, the circulatory one on the one beneath that, and organs and such. I was looking into this craft and saw a living being working on what looked like controls. It was seated at first, moving its hands over these lighted different colors. I thought that the person was awful skinny and bald. Then it got up from its seat and turned around, so much that I could see its face. It didn't see me, but I could clearly see it. I gasped and at the same time felt like I was falling down into the thing which was a distance down there, fearing that I grabbed my brother's leg on the way down and held on for dear life. He asked what was going on and if I was okay. I said, "Did you see that?" "See what?" he asked. Then he whispered loudly that Dad was watching us and to get up. He helped me up. and said to play it cool. I looked up at Dad's face and thought he would kill me if I told him what I had seen. He killed me before I could even get it out of my mouth. He came over to us fast. It shocked us both. Then he demanded to know what I had seen in a tone of voice that meant that he knew something. I asked what he meant. He gave me one more chance. You know what? I stammered a bit and said that I saw a spider or a snake. Of course, he knew why nothing was growing there already. When he ordered us to get down there and find that thing, I told him I'd rather not because it's poisonous. He said my brother would dig while I showed him the place to look. Better that no one else knew what I knew. I don't even get this. We watched Dad for some time until he got his attention. I went over to see what my brother wanted. He uncovered a great length of pipe. I don't know. That story was kind of dumb. I guess what happened was a UFO crashed. That pissed me off. Did that piss anybody else off? Oh. Ooh, got one. Jay Cortez, definitely not. Cow's moo. I wouldn't consider it something. What episodes are Brad in as they? Only a couple. Just and they're labeled Brad. Can't win them all. Right on. Pokemon. Oh, Joe with the dad joke. The experience just it bothered me because like the guy like fucking wrote all this shit to like say nothing. Okay, here we go. Okay, so being that I live in the Adirondacks, I don't know how I can tell you this. I know right where this place is, so hang on. Pharaoh Lake, New York to Glens Falls, New York. Pharaoh Lake, New York to Glens Falls, New York. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see the blue line, but Pharaoh Lake is only an hour and 2 minutes from my house. All right, check this out. During the recent holidays, Christmas of 2010, I was able to talk to a cousin who lives in Pharaoh Lake, New York. He's a conservationist and an advocate for nature conservation. He recently made a discovery that is fascinating but pains him, since the information would most likely lead to Bigfoot hunters disseminating wildlife in the pristine forest. While hiking and camping in a fairly remote area of Essex County, New York, the most specific location he would give, he came across what he describes as a Sasquatch ritual burial. One evening, while he was making his way back to camp, he heard muffled grunting coming from his right. His attention was directed toward a thick stand of sugar maple. He crouched down behind a large fallen tree and witnessed 3 large, hairy, bipedal figures, Sasquatch, standing around a large tree stump. It looked like a large female who towered above her companions. He estimated her to be 8+ feet, and that the others were about 6 feet tall. Each one of the figures was swaying and grunting. This activity continued for 10 minutes when they suddenly stopped and started to run in an opposite direction. He was fearful that they noticed his presence somehow. Since it was now getting dark, he decided to continue to his camp and return the next day. The next morning, he anxiously made his way back to the site where he had seen the Sasquatch. When he reached the site, he noticed a 4-foot-high, hollowed-out sugar maple stump with 4 gray squirrel tails attached to the top edge and suspended outside of the stump. It almost looked like some sort of decoration. He also noticed a terrible stench that reminded him of very strong urine. He looked into the stump and it was empty, but there was some dark fur, a few blood stains, and a large piece of old deer hide. He surmises that the Sasquatch may have buried a small child or infant in that stump, and that they had either came back to move it after noticing him, or that a scavenger had took it during the night. Rochelle, thank you for upgrading your membership. I appreciate that. Randall, have a good night. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. Dude, that's pretty crazy. Did you just ask Andy what color his eyes are? Or what color are you, Andy? No cap. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Andy Davis, you have hazel eyes? What's up, Tracy? How are you? The story is nuts. Philip, yeah, we've been live for 2 hours and 42 minutes tonight. We're setting a record. Setting a record. AWD, have a good night, my friend. Have a good night. Rochelle, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. AWD, it's your birthday? Happy birthday. I must have not seen it. Yeah, Matt, it's spelled like Pharaoh, Egypt, PH though. It's up by, well, it's actually close to Brant Lake. Actually, I believe I have to go right by it to get to Brant Lake. Hang on. Pharaoh Lake, New York to Brant Lake, New York. Yeah, it's just above. You know where Matt, you know where Scroon Lake is? It's right by right below Scroon Lake. So it's right above Brant Lake, technically. Suji, have a good night. How old are you, Matt? Rob, I don't know what you mean. Pottersville. Yeah, I know right where Pottersville is. Yep. $54. Okay. Do you know? So you're from Pottersville, which would be Olmstedville, right? LBL is played out. LBL is it's played out in my eyes. I truly believe that there are better places. Do you know Mel and Kathy? Fuck. They have a daughter named Letitia. Mel and Kathy. Mel works for the highway department of Olmstedville. He's at like 60 something. Utah, I would much rather go to Utah. I would much rather go to Taylor, Mississippi than LBL. I think LBL is just played out. You know what I mean? Played out. Letitia's like in her 20s, but Mel is what is his last name? Hang on a second. I'll tell you in a second. Because they're from Olmstedville on Pottersville Road or whatever. Hang on. Let me. I'll find out and let you know next week. 11. Thank you. Holy crap. Thank you so much. My goodness. Thank you. Wow. I heard a few stories, but never thought about it like that. Well, the reason why I think the LBL is not, it's, like, here's the thing. You've got all these researchers down there, and every once in a while, we get an encounter out of there. Like, I got an encounter about like 7 months ago from that lady that lives in Bumpus Mills. But usually the encounters are outside of the LBL. Nothing is in the LBL as of late. There was one attack. And everybody's like, oh, we got to go to the LBL. Let's go to the LBL. Like, who cares? There are so many other forests that are deeper, like Idaho, Montana. Eunice, that's also for a TV show, though. You know what I mean? I just said Idaho and Montana have large forests, Miss Firehorse. The Adirondacks is a bigger forest than the LBL. The LBL is just a small patch of woods. That's it, between two former rivers. I smoke LBLs. No, I don't want to go to the LBL. I don't want to go. I think it's a joke. That's my own belief. I think that you've got all these Facebook groups and all this other crap that are out there, like proclaiming that it's the greatest place in the world to find cryptids, but all of the encounters that happen are outside of the LBL, like in the surrounding area. None are in the LBL as of late. Does that make sense to anybody or no? I would love to do. I wish we could figure out where like a central located area would be to go. Like, fuck, man. I bet you we could have more of a experience finding evidence in like Wisconsin, Missouri. Nobody talks about the Ozarks. You know, like everyone's like, LBO. What about the Ozarks? The Ozarks are known for freaking, bad shit there. Port Jarvis. Boggy Creek. Yeah, boy. The Ozark Jerry Devil. Momo. The Ozarks would be sick. Louisiana. Yeah. Like Honey Island. Honey Island has more experiences within the last 10 years than the LBL. No, Momo is in the Ozarks, I thought. I might be wrong. Momo. Missouri, the Ozarks, Missouri. I was right. Pine Barrens, yeah. No, Missouri. Ozark Mountain Range. The Ozarks are in Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. But Momo was spotted in the Missouri side of the Ozarks. What church, Denise? Where's Neck? I didn't see Neck. I canoed many Ozark rivers. Neck is like fucking Grizzly Adams. Washington is awesome. Oh, in the Pine Barrens, yeah. Denise, if you where is it?
if you ever, Denise, if you ever want to, yes, I do remember now. This book for the Pine Barrens is truly an amazing book. It was written by Paul Evans Pedersen, excuse me, Jr. And just a great, it's got a lot of history about the Pine Barrens, but it's got a lot of experiences about the Jersey Devil. Send me an email, Denise, and I'll send you, I'll ask Paul where you can get the book, okay? Paul sent me this, but I'll ask him, if you send me an email, I'll get you the info to get the book. Andy Davis, most definitely. Most definitely. Well, isn't there the blue hole is back there too, right, Denise? Big chat. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Who's Momo? Momo is the Ozark Howler, pretty much. It's almost a white Bigfoot. Momo, Ozarks. Okay, here it is. Momo the monster, also known as the Missouri monster, hence Momo, Missouri Momo, is reportedly an ape-like creature similar to descriptions of Bigfoot that was allegedly sighted by numerous people in Louisiana, Missouri in 71 and 72. Unlike some other areas with similar reports of cryptids, such as the Folk Monster in Folk, Arkansas, or Mothman in Point Pleasant, Momo did not become a major tourist or economic folklore attraction. Description: alleged witnesses described the creature as a large bipedal humanoid with a pumpkin-sized head, 7 foot tall, emitting a putrid odor. Here's the history of Momo. Here's the encounter. The most well-known alleged sighting occurred in July 11th, 1972, when 2 young boys were playing in the backyard on the rural outskirts of Louisiana, Missouri. Their older sister, Doris, was in the kitchen when she heard her brothers screaming. When she looked out the window, she observed a massive, dark-haired, man-like creature holding what appeared to be a deceased dog. She described it as having a pumpkin-shaped head with large, glowing orange eyes. Many alleged sightings occurred that year. Most notably was a local fire department chief and member of city council, Richard Allen Murray, who reportedly driving along the creek bed when he saw a massive upright creature in his headlights. As a result of these reports, a 20-person posse was formed to hunt the creature, but nothing was ever found. 2019, a docudrama horror film entitled Momo, the Missouri Monster, was released and features a dramatization of the events in 72. So that is who Momo is. Pumpkinhead is a great movie. Conic Chase, I've done many videos on that, Pity. Many videos. With the old stinker. Old stinker. Dogman, in Conic Chase is the name that they call it is Old Stinker for some reason. Because he smells like shit. Best Dogman book I have. I honestly don't know. My book that I haven't wrote yet. No. Probably
Linda Godfrey. I haven't seen Dogman UK Man tonight. Nope, Jeff, that video where you blew the shofar. The talking nature, it sounds like when they open up. It does sound really scary, right, old chap? 11, your book you haven't written, hands down, awaiting. I really need, like, I've got Victor's book almost done. Victor's book is done. I've got the foreword, the body, and the ending. I just got to get in touch with Amazon to get the book out. My book is going to be probably 4 times bigger. I think my book, I'm going to have encounters in my book, my own. And I'm going to talk a lot about what, it's going to have encounters as well as my own, but I'm going to talk about the attacks. Like, I really want to have like a chapter on Cott County, Kentucky, or Cott County, Tennessee, Knott County, Kentucky, a few of the other attacks. Nick, just do it. Have you learned how to blow her yet? Not near Stonehenge. Jakey88, have you ever been up to Lebec, Maine? Lebec is beautiful. Well, Tom Mezek never said he heard it because nobody ever talked to Tom Mezek after he disappeared, big chap. Tom Mezek's family member said he heard it, a cousin. But yeah, I saw that. I saw like a clip of Tony Merkel saying that I've never heard of metallic noises. I've never heard of metallic noises. That's new news. But you're a researcher? Metallic noises have been talked about for hundreds of years when it comes to these things, especially when it comes to portals. So don't call yourself a researcher, son. Just teasing. Oh, Jesus. $11. Holy cow, again? God, thank you so much. Wow, you are awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Has anyone ever gone looking for wolf creatures in Maine that ran around the family's house? Brett Alexander, no. And there's I have a friend, his name's Ryan, and he's got a small YouTube channel that he doesn't do anything with anymore. But he was friends with the family, and the town actually dismissed that whole account, saying that these people were drug dealers and drug addicts and nothing ever. And it was, bullshit, because there really was an incident that happened. AL Zilla, holy cow. What's up, Nick? Vang, my man, I just did your encounter. I redid your encounter the other day, my friend Vang. I love your encounter. Or the one you shared with us. I mean, dude, we are 3 minutes and 5 minutes, or 3 hours and 5 minutes in. One more encounter because I friggin' love you guys. And this is the longest live stream ever right now. And $20 is $20, baby. I ain't gay, but $20 is $20. Ha ha. Ugh, shit. Oh, I fucking love that line. Dude, the greatest Mike Patton from Faith No More. He's got this tank top. That's where I got the idea from. I'm not saying it's my original idea, but he's got this black tank top with it's got the embroider is white. And it says, "I'm not gay, but $20 is $20." And he's got this big hand-drawn dick on his arm. And it's just the greatest fucking picture ever. God, I love Mike Patton. Faith No More. One of the greatest bands ever. Mike Patton's the greatest singer ever. All right, here we go. You guys ready? He rode in your limo? Damn. All right. This experience happened in Illinois, Neck. It happened in your neck of the woods, my brother. I've never told this experience before, not even to my two best friends or my closest family members. This experience happened in the early summer of 2002 in the Mississippi River Valley in the state of Illinois. I was a government employee at the time, so I'll keep the place and specifics vague for the sake of people that live around this area. I was 2 months into the job, fully enjoying being the new guy in the new part of the country that I have never seen before. On that day, my job was to do a biological survey on a dry riverbed. It was my boat ramp used to access the area when the water was present. I parked my government work truck with the nose toward the riverbed and the boat ramp to the left. I got out of my truck and took several steps ahead to look over the area and made a plan on how to start my survey. After a minute, I suddenly was hit with a sense of immediate danger. It was tangible and it was physical. I could feel the sensation smack into my left shoulder and slide across my skin of my chest from left to right, like being shot with a jet of water from a fire hose. The danger felt like it was coming from knee level or lower, and I backpedaled in an unexpected sudden panic. I kept my knees bent and my arms forward because I was sure I was going to be charged by something vicious. Once safely back in my truck, I looked all around for whatever that I was sure had to be there, but I saw nothing. After a few minutes of confusion and adrenaline, I had no explanation for what happened. I laughed to myself for being silly and told myself I have a job to do and get out and do it. I get out for a second time and stepped forward to my original standing spot to decide how I'm going to start the survey. I again get hit with this fire hose of danger from my toes to the top of my head. I do the same, running fast, backpedaling, and getting into my truck. Both times the feeling disappeared the instant my truck door slammed shut. I'm really spooked. My hands are trembling on the steering wheel while I'm asking myself if I'm having a heart attack or an allergic reaction. I sit there for 7 to 8 minutes trying to compose myself. I punched the dash in frustration and told myself, get your ass out of the truck and do your job. I was the new guy, and I did not want to be seen as unreliable. I got out of the truck the third time and stepped forward to the original standing spot. Now, everything that follows is happening in split-second sequence, and it'll take longer to explain, skipping ads, explain than it took to experience. The moment my foot stepped onto the original spot, I got hit with 100% blast of danger. I mean, absolute primitive fear and danger, like standing on a high-tension bridge that is collapsing with you on it, or standing in front of an avalanche of snow in the lasting 4 seconds before it hits you. My legs were running before my mind knew I was running. As I spun around and ran for the truck, I was saying in a panic to myself in an internal voice, "Cuss, get into the damn truck." By the second or third step, I saw something in my peripheral. To my right, it was just past 3 o'clock, and about 20 feet away was an unnaturally brown color like a Crayola crayon. It was pear-shaped, 5.5 feet tall, squatting like a heavy sumo wrestler. All I saw was this brown blob, but it clearly stood out from the surrounding nature. I could feel a presence as strong and powerful as a short-tempered rodeo bull in split second. Grab the door handle. I clearly hear it say in the same voice, "Leave now, leave this place." It was stern, commanding, and calm, with none of the panic that was flooding through my body. I calmed down enough to drive safely home. Damn! That was a good one. That was a good one. You know what? I'm in this much of a good mood. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. We're doing another one. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. I know, right? All right, here we go. Well, Ricardo, there's Mr. Ballin's example of Brett. Mr. Ballin's story of the Palmyra Wolves is the same as every other experience. He didn't get anything new out of it. There's an actual video, like a TV show, that they demonstrate the dad being in the driveway, in the wolves, the werewolves or dogmen surrounding him. John tells it great, but The TV show, I'll tell you the TV show. TV show with Palmyra, Maine wolves. It's on Paranormal Witness. So if you guys want to, if anybody doesn't know about the Palmyra wolves, watch the Paranormal Witness. It shows the exact, like they reconstructed it. It's really cool. Yeah. He's an amazing storyteller. The guy is fucking awesome. Like, I could never say anything bad about John Ballin. He's fucking awesome. John Allen, excuse me. All right, here we go. In the early 2000s, I was 17 and had just got my learner's permit. I began working a few months prior at our local grocery store chain in Mount Pocono, PA. It seemed like a good job, has at least 10 of my friends working there, and I figured I'd get paid to hang out. This was usually true, as us younger workers were usually the ones running the night shift. My mom was going to be picking me up afterward, and I was to drive home for a little nighttime driving experience. The day itself was uneventful. I couldn't even begin to elaborate on how bored I was and how excited I was to drive my mom's van. We lived 20 minutes from the store, and while I was upset at the short drive, I looked forward to it. I was waiting for her outside the store, and she arrived at her usual time. After quickly ushering her to the passenger seat, I charted a course in my head for home and took off. The ride was generally pleasant, save for my mom being an overprotective hen with her remarks about speed and line riding, and we recounted our day to each other. We had just turned down our road in Pocono Lake, which used to be an old farm. Our house was a farm variety, complete with dilapidated chicken coops, a small orchard of scraggly apple trees, and an antique fire engine that my brother loved to play on. It sat next to our neighbor's house, which sat at the cusp of a large field. I was talking to my mom about some girl that caught my eye when she quickly cut me off. I figured it was the subject matter when she started pointing through the windshield at the field. "What the hell is that?" she yelled. I couldn't see, so I pulled over and stopped the car. It looked like a toy top, but covered with pulsing rainbow lights. It slowly spun in the air, but made no noise at all. I rolled down the window to try and hear, but nothing. A thought came into my head, and I responded. "You damn well know what it is," I blurted out, my heart racing. And I put the van in drive and started to peel out. Again, this was in 2003, so nobody had camera phones or anything of the such. All we had were our little brick-shaped cell phones. My mom seemed frantic and scolded me for pulling away so harshly. I cut her off with my hand. If they are hovering, they are either dropping off or picking up, and I really don't want to see. I yelled and drove the 150 yards to our house, where I went to drag my sleeping dad from bed, my mom staying on the porch to watch it. We came outside and it was gone. No sounds, no rumbles, nothing. Crickets, cicada, and tree frogs had begun starting up. My mom said that she turned away to tell us to hurry, and it was gone instantly. Of course, my dad was furious for us, thinking we were playing a joke on him. Spirit level, right on. I'm looking for another experience to share. I'm going to do one more. Sorry I'm taking so long. All right, here we go. This will be the last encounter of the night, guys. I had too much fun. So I couldn't stop. This experience is something that I've kept to myself until now, but I feel it is the right time to relegate what was one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever encountered. I've changed names and kept locations vague for the privacy of everyone involved. You'll soon realize why I said privacy. First, a little bit about myself. I was born in the United Kingdom, but my mother is Native American who was Cheyenne. Despite a very difficult upbringing and being dyslexic, I achieved my medical degree and became practicing MD. As a side note, I always found myself torn between two worlds. My education equipped me with a scientific mindset. However, I cannot refute my numerous experiences that led me to believe in the paranormal. So I guess some would say I am a walking contradiction. In my limited spare time, I was a host of a reasonably successful paranormal podcast in 2015, which is where I met my ex-fiance, James, who also hosted his own podcast in Canada. Eventually, James made the trip to the United Kingdom to meet, and shortly after proposed. By 2016, James and I decided it was a good time for me to meet his family. One of the main concerns is that his family are Jehovah's Witnesses that lived in Alberta, Canada, in the middle of nowhere. When I say in the middle of nowhere, that is not an understatement. After an exhausting 10-hour plus flight, I was greeted by James and his family at the airport, who treated me to Denny's for a meal. The subsequent drive to their family's home is when I felt the first signs of uneasiness settle in. Although I was brought up as a country girl, my professional career has got me used to the hustle and bustle of city life. So you can imagine my apprehension when confronted with the unending sea of forest. Not to mention the light was quickly fading, which added to an ominous feeling. I remember on the drive, the dad saying, "We're not far from First Nation reservation." On the first night of my arrival, I was accompanied with unpacking and making small talk with the family. Given their aforementioned heavily religious background, James and I were not allowed to share a room. I was relegated to sleep in the guest room, which was really cold, dank basement. Following day was spent getting to know the family and wandering around the grounds. For those of you who have not been in this part of the world, it is really quite beautiful. I also met their Maine Coon cat for the first time, Jerry. It was then that I peered across the field and saw a deer. Now, being from the United Kingdom, I am no stranger to wildlife. However, the way this deer was staring at me was disconcerting, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it at the time. The sunset was approaching fast given the time of year. The father of the family informed me that he and his wife were going to bed early and emphasized that Jerry, the Maine Coon cat, must be brought inside. I thought that was pretty normal until he added, There's been mutilations and attacks, so please make sure you do not forget. Although I wanted to inquire further, I thought I'd better leave this alone. That night I was watching TV. At the time, the first Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton debate was airing. However, I wanted to watch something else. Shame on you. As I went to pick up the remote, I noticed Jerry the Maine Coon Cat approach me, then suddenly freeze, which was odd because up until that point, we were friendly. I then felt an ice cold shiver down my spine. Never had I felt such a predatory presence, but that also felt oddly familiar. I turned around, and what I saw drained my blood. On the other side of the very tall glass window was a towering bipedal figure that was at least 7 to 8 feet tall. Please bear in mind this was a long time ago. These are details that I'd rather forget. But what sticks in my mind was the large set of glowing red eyes and the jagged teeth. The entity pressed its face against the glass, which revealed its wolf-like face, which seemed to be a mixture of wolf and human. Strangely, I stayed locked in place, frozen in fear with this entity, maybe 5 to 6 minutes. At the time, I felt like it was trying to communicate. My senses suddenly returned to me, and I fled to the basement room, dove into the bed. My heart felt like it was going to pound out of my chest. Did I just imagine this? Just as the thought entered my mind, I was looking at the basement windows, which were located high up on the wall, and I saw what looked to be wolf feet, 2 of them, pass by my window. I closed my eyes tightly as possible, wishing for this nightmare to end. What followed was tapping on the windows. I thought I was going to pass out from the fear. Then the tapping became more aggressive. Then, after a brief moment of silence, I heard a low, distorted growl inches away. I must have passed out from shock, as the next thing I remember, waking up the next day on the floor. The family came to check on me as I hadn't been seen all day. My shoulder was dislocated and I was rushed to the hospital. The doctors had no explanation on how this could have happened. One of the doctors suggested that I had fallen out of bed. However, I woke up on the other side of the room, so it doesn't make any sense. With my medical background, it defied all logic. Given the religious background of the family, I didn't feel comfortable telling them what happened. As I previously mentioned, I am familiar with the paranormal and had suspicions as to what I encountered. Unfortunately, most of my family on the Native American side are deceased. However, I was able to get in touch with an elder family member. The elder was very reluctant to talk about it, and that it was in my best interest to forget about what I saw. What puzzles me to this day is whether it could have been my Native American ancestry that had something to do with this encounter, or whatever. But I will leave it at that for now. Yes, that was a good encounter, Vang. Right on. Yes, this has been 3 hours and 30 minutes. So we are good. Guys, I had a blast tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live stream as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thanks, Craig. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Elsa. Bobby, thank you. Simon, have a great night. Minority Reporter, have a wonderful night. Stacy Brooks, no cap bussin'. Denise, it was a good night, right, guys? Joe, I hope you enjoyed tonight. Linda, have a wonderful evening. Miss Firehorse, RH, 59th. Alan Howell, how are you again? Thank you for hanging out with me, guys. Dis, what's up? Guys, this was so much fun. I had a fucking blast. On a scale of 1 to 10, as live stream goes, this has to be an 8 or 9. RX-7 wins every time. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you for joining me tonight. And please stay safe. And I'll see you guys on the 16th. Bye, guys. I don't even want to say goodnight, but I got to because I got to get some sleep. All right. Love you guys.